End zone, touchdown! Touchdown! Intercepted! Touchdown! Teddy Bruschi! Willie McGinnis! Nathan Smith! We're Super Bowl champions again!
Welcome to New England Ford Patriots 5th quarter. Brought to you by the New England Ford dealers, home of the best-selling brand of cars and trucks in New England.
Welcome to the New England Ford Patriots 5th quarter, where the Patriots have just beaten the Indianapolis Colts 27-24. Scott Zolak, Steve Burton, a squeaker. A squeaker. You knew it was going to be a shootout.
But phenomenal first game for the networks. I mean, you got the two top quarterbacks in the league going at it head-to-head. They look like they're in mid-season, end-of-season shape form. The defense is a little rusty, which is what you expect because the offense shows you so many different formations. But what a first game for this team. And to get the turnovers they got in the red zone. 2 huge turnovers by Indy inside the 5. That's what killed them tonight.
They had 3 turnovers in the red zone.
3 in the red zone, but 2 inside the 5. Those are the backbreakers, and that's going to haunt Indy. And then that last sack by Willie McGinnis. I mean, Peyton Manning of all quarterbacks got to know, do not take a sack in this situation. That's cardinal sin right there. Never throw against the grain. Never take a sack. Knock yourself out of field position.
You mentioned McGinnis. That's the Citizens Bank play of the game. Willie McGinnis sack, taking Mike Vanderjagt out of field goal position. And Vanderjagt is pretty Mr. Automatic.
He's pretty Mr. Automatic.
But that sack was huge. Peyton Manning had no clue McGinnis was coming.
Well, he checked to that play, so he should have known his protection. I think he was looking to the left the whole time. He actually set his back from the right side to the left side to get extra protection that way. But if you looked at Willie, he was right on Seymour's left hip. So Seymour ate up that right tackle, gave Willie the outside, and that's ball game right there.
3 crucial turnovers for the Colts, but none bigger was the 1st and goal at the 1, and Edgerrin James fumbled the football for the 2nd time.
You know, James really ran hard this game. I thought he did a lot of improvement since last year, but the turnovers are going to kill him. When he looks at this film and sees the situations that were there, the chances that Indianapolis had in this game tonight, he's going to want to shoot himself. Granted, this is the first game. I mean, we can't get too high about this, too low.
But it's a win.
What happened last year, 31-0. We'll take the win. This is a huge win for this team.
Tom Brady threw, what, 3 touchdown passes, 1 to Deion Branch, 1 to Daniel Graham.
Talking about a sore shoulder being probable and all that. It's unbelievable. This guy, he's phenomenal. The way he operates, the way he manages the football game, he knows where all his receivers are, spread the ball around to everybody.
And here's the other thing about Tom Brady. How poised is he in the end zone? The offensive line gave him great protection,
That's the thing.
but Brady just knows how to sidestep his defenders.
Exactly.
Stay poised, stay calm, cool, and collected, and deliver the football.
Not only at the end of the game did he not get his team in trouble, but I think early in the first half, the 2 times where he stepped up in the pocket, this guy has an innate ability to feel the pressure around him. It's kind of a clock inside your head. Guys like Joe Montana had it. We keep referring Brady to Montana. He's getting there. He's getting real close.
Another thing, Troy Brown. How much did the Patriots miss Troy Brown today?
Well, you got David Patton back in a big way. I mean, we didn't have Patton part of last year, and then all of a sudden Troy Brown's out. You know, Patton's his go-to guy now. He stepped up. He showed why he had such a great offseason, why Coach Belichick was talking so highly of him. His work ethic paid off right from day one.
I will say this about the defense. They didn't have a great game, but they stepped up when they had to. Teddy Bruschi had an interception. Yeah. Key down in the red zone as well.
I think they had to adjust a couple things. They started calling some flags here late in the second half, so they started to play a little tentative, but the key to this game was the linebackers were really getting sucked up on that play action. That's when Manning was hitting those quick little dinks over the top to the fullback and to the tight end. So they got to work on that, staying home, not biting up on the run so much, and they'll do that. This is week 1. This defense will be hitting on all cylinders by week 4.
All right, well, we got to vote for the player of the game at CBS4.com, but in the meantime, we're going to take a break. We're waiting on Coach Belichick. Stay with us. The Patriots 5th quarter. We'll be right back at you in just a moment.
The Patriots play of the game is brought to you by Citizens Bank, not your typical bank.
Guests on New England Ford Patriots 5th quarter receive a gift certificate to Milton's, the store for men. At Milton's, you'll be as comfortable in their stores as you will be in their clothes.
Welcome back to New England Ford Patriots 5th quarter. Brought to you by the New England Ford dealers, home of the best-selling brand of cars and trucks in New England.
Welcome back. With the Patriots have just defeated the Indianapolis Colts by a score of 27-24. It was a nail-biter. We're waiting on head coach Bill Belichick, Steve Burton, and Scott Zolak standing by. And let me tell you something. Corey Dillon, I'm not sure how much yards he had, maybe 100 yards or close to 100 yards, but he had a pretty good day.
Oh, without a doubt. I played with a great back named Curtis Martin. I know Tom Brady's licking his chops right now because he got a phenomenal back in Corey Dillon. We saw what everybody's been raving about. This guy, he hits the hole hard. It's kind of like Antoine Smith. Antoine hit the hole hard, but once he hit it and he got tackled, Corey drives his legs, he gets into the opening. We saw the big runs that he busted out. It's a huge another weapon for Tom Brady. And then once they start hitting him with a couple screen passes, once people start getting adjusted to the run, this guy's going to be phenomenal. This offense is going to be really, really good.
And Corey's got his own fan section, because for those who weren't at this game, you could hear the fans in the stands yelling, Corey, Corey, Corey.
They want more.
They want more.
It's
That's
a great
exactly
sports
right.
town. Yeah, it's like Manning. How the Red Sox do tonight.
Well, they were losing. We'll get to them in just a little bit. Another thing, turnovers. Big turnovers. Teddy Bruschi's turnover. I mean, obviously, first and goal at the 1, Edgerrin James fumbling the ball. That was big, but Bruschi had a key interception early in this football game.
Not only key, it is a fantastic athletic play for a linebacker, a guy his size, to be able to snatch the ball like that, leave his feet, have enough sense that he was not touched. He got up and he got actually a couple extra yards out of it. Bruschi, we can't talk more about him on defense. Brady on offense. A couple questionable penalties in this game, though. The Asante Samuel penalty in the end zone, but that's what's going to happen when this new rule was instituted in the offseason. They're going to start calling that more and more early in these games. By mid-season, it'll start to pan out. We'll see less of it as the year goes on.
The one question I have, Ty Law. I mean, he was in and out of the game. Is he hurt? Well, I mean, hamstring? Well, what's the deal with Ty Law?
He was inactive, a couple games ago in the preseason, so there could be something lingering there. If you have enough guys in depth, if guys are playing well, why push Ty? Why hurt him for the rest of the year? If he really pulls that hamstring, he can miss 4 to 6 games easily. So why push it?
And think about this. Was this deja vu again? Because Willie McGinnis
all over again,
stopping at the goal line. Willie McGinnis, big play last year, big play this year, taking Peyton Manning right out of on the sack.
That's just a matter of a veteran stepping up in clutch situations. He makes the big plays.
Okay, we're waiting on Coach Bill Belichick. He is coming to the podium as we speak, so we're going to go to Coach Belichick.
Everybody stay for the end of this one. Whew. It seems like all of our games against the Colts are like this. It comes down to the last possession, last couple plays. And this was no different, just back and forth the whole way. Good football game, unless you coach defense. But in the end, we were just able to make enough plays to win. You got to give them credit. They played hard. They did a lot of things well. But our guys really stepped up there, especially in the third quarter. Came back and played a little bit better defensively. Had a couple good drives, made some good throws, good catches. I thought Corey ran hard. We got production from a lot of different people offensively, and that's what we need. So feel fortunate and happy to win against a good football team. We still got a lot of work to do, made a lot of mistakes, had a lot of penalties, turned the ball over, had a lot of errors on defense, but hopefully we can correct them and build on them. They're a good football team. They're gonna make a lot of people make some errors. So that's where we're at.
Coach, a lot of guys turned up big for you, including David Pat. Can you speak on his play?
Yeah, it was, David's had a terrific camp for us, played well. All through the preseason. We had a lot of guys, guys like Colvin and Patton. Really happy for guys like that didn't get a chance to contribute that much last year that really were big for us tonight. So, yep, David did a super job. I thought all the receivers did a nice job, tight ends. We got a lot of production on offense from a lot of different guys.
Coach, did Ty Law get hurt? He was in and out.
Yeah, Ty tightened up a little bit there and, was in and out, and then by the end he just couldn't go anymore. No, not a lot. We just tried to play better. We just tried to play a little bit better. This wasn't an adjustment game. This is a execution game. And they do what they do, and we try to do what we did. Sometimes we did it well, and sometimes we didn't. But in the end, we got killed by giving up too many big plays on play action in the passing game. And then there's times when we're soft in the running game. But they do a good job of combining those plays and keep you off balance. So give them credit for the execution and we're fortunate to have a couple big hits there and get some turnovers. Once again, McGinnis made a big play on him at the end, and Willie's always seems like he always is there when we need him. And tonight was, that was a big play, obviously.
The timely turnovers down, particularly those down the goal line,
Yeah, well, we turned it over a couple times. They turned it over. Yeah, that's the way the game was. I think they lose it twice, we lost it twice. So that's that stuff evened out. We'd like to hang on to ours, and I thought there were good contact plays to get the ball out on our side.
Bill, talk about that play by Willie McGinnis at the end. Actually threw it way back in terms of field goal attempt.
Yeah, well, You know, we changed up on him a little bit defensively. You know, Romeo called an outside blitz. Harrison came from one side, McGinnis came from the other side, and you know, it looked like Manning probably read that Harrison was coming. He shifted it back over, but they missed McGinnis on the backside, coming on the defensive left, and you know, Willie did a nice job. You know, he gets there in a hurry, and you know, it was a big play. Great call by Rack. You know, it's a really clutch call in that situation to knock him out of field goal range, not out of field goal range, but to knock him back in the field goal range.
Are you pleased with Dylan?
But yeah, again, I think offensively we got production from a lot of different people. There's a lot of things we could have done better, but you know, Corey ran hard. He broke some tackles. He finished some runs, and you know, his pickup was pretty good. You know, he was helping on a free knee there a few times. So you know, I think he did a good job, and I'm sure there's things he's going to be able to do better after we look at the film, and you know, I'm sure we'll be saying that about everybody.
Bill, have you just not settled on 5 offensive linemen yet? Is that
we rotated a lot of people in the game at all the positions. You know, we haven't really, nobody's played, you know, a full game in preseason, and we rotated people all the way through: receiver, offensive line, tight end, running back, and defensively, same thing. You know, we were playing a lot of people, and you know, I think that our depth is going to be important for us this year, and it was important tonight. We got contributions from a lot of different people.
There was a lot of hoopla surrounding the pregame show. Was that even on your radar screen?
Nope, sure wasn't. Nope, don't really care too much about that. We're just focused on the game, and you know, whatever fireworks got shot off or didn't get shot off, you know, we don't really care about. Well, it was kind of loud out there in pregame, but you know, we don't care anything about that. Our focus is on the game, and that's where it needed to be tonight. You know, we had our hands full, more than our hands full with the Colts, so there wasn't much else we could really focus on besides that. That was plenty.
Can you get a game can you get control of a game like this at all? I mean, if it was swing back.
Well, we had a 10-point lead at the start of the fourth quarter, and you know, and they came back. They had a great drive. You know, they hit a big third down play down there for a touchdown, and you know, then got down a couple other times, and you know, fortunately we were able to, you know, keep them out. So you know, I wouldn't say we had control over it, but you know, we had a 10-point lead at the start of the fourth quarter. So you know, you say at the beginning of the game, would you like to be in that situation? Sure, but you know, this is an explosive team, and you know, between them turning the ball over defensively and being able to, you know, strike quickly on offense, it was, you know, no lead safe against this offense.
Did your lack of depth at running back become a factor? You just had Patrick and
No, not really. No, you know, we were in that empty formation a lot with the wide receivers and the tight ends. So that was really our depth at running back, was that formation. I don't know how many times they used it, but probably got 15 or 20 plays out of it. So there wasn't a back on the field in those situations, and then, you know, the backs played the rest of the plays. So you know, I think it worked out all right. I don't think that. I thought that formation, that's kind of how we game planned it, was to be able to balance off the running back situation with you know, with a multiple receiver and tight end set. So that's how we handled it.
Coach, how did you see the calls on the eligible receiver downfield? You had 2 against you in a drive where they scored.
Yeah, well, you know, they called him, so there's probably something there. I couldn't see it. We'll take a look at the film. So I couldn't see it from where I was. You know, we had a couple called. Looked like they had a couple called. So I'm sure we'll look at them on Monday or look at them tomorrow and see what they look like. But you know, that's the way it's been all year, and it's probably the way it's going to be. If you hit them more than 5 yards downfield, they're going to call you for it.
Coach, we know Brady's not perfect, but nobody's used to see him throw an interception. You know what happened on that play?
Oh yeah, we just missed it. You know, we had a little miscommunication on what was going to happen on the route, where he thought the receiver was going, where the receiver, you know, what he thought he was going to do. It was a tough look, and you know, just didn't execute the read.
It's a first game, but is it an emotional one? Something like that?
Well, you know, we got 15 more to go. So you know, hey, look, it's nice to win. It's nice to win, and the Colts are a good football team, and you know, I'm glad we come out on top. But you know, we got 15 more to go. So you know, if we go 1-15, I doubt that anybody's going to be, you know, doing handsprings about this one. So you know, we're going to have to win more than this if we want to get anywhere. Okay, thanks a lot.
All right, welcome back to the field. Bob Lobel with Bob Newmeyer and Steve Diassi, and I guess we all agreed, as is said inside, that the big play in a game of big plays and a game of big turnovers was Willie McGinnis, ironically coming up big against the Colts again.
And you got to wonder, Steve, what the Colts have to do to win a football game. Edgerrin James fumbles on the one, and then they get known for fumbling, and then they get the ball back and they hit that quick pop to Stokely, and you think they're either going to go in for the winning touchdown, at least get a field goal to force overtime, and then the McGinnis sack here, and then the Vanderjack miss after 42 straight. Not an easy kick, 47 on a wet field with a swirling wind.
But he is the NFL record holder for 42 straight field goals until this missed field goal. Willie McGinnis has a knack of making big plays against the Colts when it counts.
Well, we'll come back and show you how we even got to a Vanderjack attempt, a 48-yarder, which this thing had overtime written all over it. As I remember, I said O-T to you, and you agreed. And it absolutely had overtime written all over it.
Or a Colt win in regulation. I mean, they were knocking on the door inside the 20-yard line. They score. It's game, set, match. But you figure at least it's a Vanderjack field goal. I mean, the McGinnis sack is the last thing you're thinking about. Out of field goal range.
Right.
Patriots win. Unbelievable finish.
All right. And, you know, Manning really had no shot on that play. I mean, it's not like you're doing the Cardinal sin as a quarterback, taking a sack on a third. He never saw him coming. All right, when we come back, we'll take a look at some of these key plays in this game. That was the key play, the sack by McGinnis, but the turnovers in the end, heart-stopping. And well, on both sides of the ball. We'll be back with the fifth quarter.
Bill Belichick's postgame news conference is brought to you by Dunkin' Donuts, the best coffee in America. Welcome back to New England Ford Patriots fifth quarter. Brought to you by the New England Ford dealers, home of the best-selling brand of cars and trucks in New England.
Welcome back to the field in Foxborough with Bob Newmeyer and Steve Diassi. Bob Lobel, 16 in a row now for the Patriots, and they're almost unbeatable at home. But this was a hell of a football game to start off the season.
Well, they have the knack of, we've said this so many times, of making the plays when they count. And in this football game, I don't know, Steve, a countless number of times they were able to do that. Even still, you thought they were on the ropes down the stretch, and then McGinnis pulls the rabbit out of his hat.
With so many great efforts by so many guys on the team today, you also had some situation where they put their team in jeopardy, but they seemed to answer the call every single time. We saw it last year so many times.
Well, let's show how they put their team in jeopardy at the end with the punt fumble by Deion Branch, who might have gotten votes for player of the game. However, this was an unforgivable sin with the lead and fumbling the punt and giving the Colts the football.
Well, let's not forget this is an inexperienced punt returner. Troy Brown is the guy that usually handles this job. Didn't dress tonight because of a knee injury. So he's waving for the fair catch. Might have misjudged the ball a little bit up in the wind. Guy had a hell of a game offensively. He had 7 or 8 catches, a number of key third down plays and a touchdown reception. His feet slipped out as well, and he misjudged it.
And Tyrone Poole had been in returning punts earlier in the game, too, so why Deion was in there, I'm not sure, but you're right, a little inexperience showing.
Okay, so that sets up the Colts offense, but it also sets up an Edgerrin James fumble.
Well, you think this is the break the Colts are looking for. I mean, the Patriots were in position to seal the game and kill the clock before the Branch fumble. Now Peyton Manning says, hey, they gave me a chance to win the game. And Edgerrin James, who I think, Steve, is one hell of a player, winds up fumbling at the goal line. But I'll tell you, Eugene Wilson makes a big stick in here. He gets his helmet in on the ball. And I think Wilfork is around the ball, or Warren as well. Let's watch this, Steve.
And Eugene Wilson was making some big hits all day. He knocked Dominic Rhodes on his tail one time, too. But that's what this team does. They hit, and they find ways to make big plays.
Well, Edgerrin James fumbled twice in this football game, 2 times in the red zone. So not a great night.
And ultimately, turnovers usually decide games, particularly close games. And the Colts are going to look at 3 turnovers in the red zone they had tonight.
Bruschi.
A Manning interception on the first possession by Teddy Bruschi.
Absolutely.
Third quarter, Edgerrin James in the red zone.
Absolutely.
And then, of course, the killer on the 1-yard line. And that set the Patriots up. And I thought New England played a little fast and loose with the football down the stretch after that fumble, throwing it around a little bit. Might have kept a little more conservative approach at that point.
The missed block on the one where Brady fumbled it too. Corey Dillon missed a block, although he did recover the fumble. Right when you think that's a situation where Brady has always made the plays that count, right then you figure he'd be able to run the clock out. Didn't happen.
Yet, even after the Edgerrin James fumble, the Colts had a chance to send this into overtime with some great play down the field. Got him in position, the McGinnis sack, still with Vanderjack, the money guy, 48 yards, 42 in a row, had a chance to send it into overtime.
Look, it was one of 2 things was going to happen. the Colts were going to win the game down the stretch, or they were going to at least tie. But the McGinnis sack, now this guy's going to kick it from 48. Kind of hits a little bit of a shank here, and I know something about shanks, Bob.
Vanderjagt also, I talked to a couple of the Patriots players on their way off the field. Vanderjagt had made a motion, and he's a little bit of a knucklehead. He made a motion signifying himself as a money player. He didn't show up today.
Well, that's when you come back on camera. I want to see. Let's see if somebody got a hand on this. Yeah, I don't think so, right? Yeah, all right, let's take, when we come back, Steve, that's it, up in the Kraft booth.
Let's put all the pieces together here. You got Edgerrin James, who had a terrific game, fumbling twice, once on the goal line. He had Mike Vanderjagt, who hasn't missed a field goal since the Truman administration, miss a field goal to tie the game. I mean, again, the Colts are in that locker room right now talking to themselves. What do we have to do to beat the Patriots here in Foxborough?
Show me the gesture that Vanderjagt
According to a couple of players when they came out the field, Vanderjagt did one of these like this, pointing to himself and doing this, meaning money player. And he was a money player. 42 straight NFL record field goals. He didn't do it when it counted. It was a great situation.
So many other things to analyze in this. It's a fascinating game for an opening game, not to mention the show that took place before this. The circus was in town, and what this organization did in terms of entertaining the crowd here, and yet the football team was able to rise above all the chaos that was going on around them. But unable to stop the run seemed to be very troubling to a lot of patrons in the first half.
And I was watching particularly the interior line play, and Woolfolk and Traylor in the middle didn't do a terrible job. A couple times the linebacker didn't come across when he was supposed to. A couple times the defensive end didn't come down when he was supposed to. They didn't play as well as Teddy Washington played in the past, but still, it wasn't strictly on the nose tackle.
Right, but to take nothing away from James here, Steve, if you're going to talk about issues on a football team, and most everybody going into this game said, look, this is a perfectly constructed team. Corey Dillon's here to beef up the running game. They won last year without Ted Washington. I say right now that the interior defense must be looked at by this football team right now.
You're absolutely right, and it will be addressed by Belichick one way or another, whether it's personnel or scheme.
All right, it was addressed somewhat at halftime because it seemed to do a little better in the second half. We're going to take a break right now. Don't forget your chance to vote for player of the game. There are some candidates out there, some very worthy candidates out there. So it's your vote that counts. So log on to CBS4Boston.com, click on fifth quarter, and let's hear from you. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to New England Ford Patriots Fifth Quarter. Brought to you by the New England Ford Dealers, home of the best-selling brand of cars and trucks in New England.
You know, it was a late Thursday night, but nobody was leaving the house in this one because it was an extremely entertaining football game, and for Patriot fans, an extremely satisfying one. Steve Burton has Eugene Wilson in the locker room. Steve?
All right, Bob, thank you very much. Yeah, one of the heroes of this game forced the fumble on first and goal at the 1. Eugene Wilson, big hit.
Thanks, man. You know, I actually didn't even know there was a fumble till, you know, I just heard the crowd after the hit and everything. But, I mean, it was big, and we was fortunate to get it.
Did you ever think this game was going to be this close? You knew it was going to be a shootout with the two quarterbacks, but coming down to the end?
You know, you never know with Peyton, you know, and I'm just glad we got Tom on our side because he had a real good game today. And, I mean, we just kept on fighting.
Let me ask you this. With the rule changes, did you have to play different?
Not me personally being back there at the safety, but I know that we had to change, you know, our physical play in a way. It was a couple calls out there that, you know, we didn't expect, but it was something that we had to deal with.
What did Belichick say to you guys after the game?
He said, "Let's try."
Can you repeat it?
Let's try and start winning this year by more than 3, you know, and you know, just work hard next week and get ready for Arizona.
Were you surprised about all the turnovers in this game?
I mean, we knew that with the rain conditions, the ball being wet, that there was a possibility that it could be a lot of turnovers. But, you know, we're still going to play our game, and that's what we did.
Ty Law was in and out of the game. I mean, people weren't sure what his injury was.
Yeah, Ty, he was in and out. You know, he was trying to play as much as he could, and, you know, he just did what he could.
Corey Dillon ran the ball well for you guys. I know you're on the other side of the ball, but this whole team, the defense, didn't have a great day, but you came up big when you had to.
That's right, and that's what it's about. You know, sometimes things are going to break down, and the big thing is you got to just come up under adversity, and that's what we did.
All right, 1-0. You got 10 days rest for the next one, right?
Well, we got a little rest. We'll get back at it next week, though.
All right, man. Good luck to you.
All right, thanks, man.
All right, Eugene Wilson, our guest. Let's go out to Bob Lobel. Bob?
All right, Stephen, thank you very much. Michael Felger of the Herald is here. Bob Newmeyer, WEEI, and the Newmy and Dale show, which you know who I put first. And
I don't know what Dale will think about that.
What do we care?
It comes before N.
I didn't know it was an alphabetical thing. I thought it was according to height.
He was on first.
Okay, right. Or age.
Age, right.
Looks.
Right,
I wouldn't even go
thanks.
there. Corey Dillon, let's talk about him first, besides all these other fascinating, entertaining moments we had out here.
Well, he's terrific, Bob. I mean, they now have an answer on the running game. I mean, that Colts drive, 9 straight runs, they run it right down their throat, put it in. What do the Pats do? First play on the next drive, give it to Corey Dillon. He gains 38 yards. This is the play right here. Totally dismisses the safety right there. Finally, the Pats have their answer. But I want to know, why didn't they use him in the fourth quarter? They make that great goal line stand. They get the fumble. They get the ball back. 3:43 left. What do? First play, pass. Then they run a couple. They pick up a first down. Now it's 1st and 10. Now there's just under 3 minutes left. What do? They pass. 2nd and 5. Brady sacked for a 7-yard loss. They passed on that last series. Now that's what they did last year with Antoine Smith or the ineffective running backs that they have. Now you got a horse. Now you got a guy to ground the clock. How do they not give him the ball? I thought that was some very, very questionable play calling on the part of Charlie Weiss.
And they threw the ball out of the shadow of their end zone. And then they threw the ball here. They messed it up, and Dillon had to recover a fumble. I thought they played a little loose with the ball down the stretch.
Well, Bob, that's why they got Corey Dillon. I mean, you saw them start the game in the spread offense. I still think that this offense belongs to Tom Brady. Ball has to go through him. Why they have Corey Dillon is when you have to run some clock, you give them the ball, and they didn't do it. And I'm surprised that they didn't, and hopefully they'll learn from that, because they fell into that same pattern last year where they'd get ahead of teams and they couldn't run clock because they were throwing the ball. Now last year they had an excuse. They didn't have a great running game. Now they have a running game. Give them the ball.
We talked quickly during the break about the entertainment value of this football team, and I'm telling you, it's like every game, as Belichick said, you got to start winning more games.
I know Elton John and the other acts were terrific from 8 to 9, but give me the 9 to 12:30 entertainment. I mean, you got 2 terrific quarterbacks, thinking man's quarterbacks, 2 terrific offenses, back and forth action. You know, I know somebody said, and it's an old sports cliche, he who has the ball last probably will win, and I guess it was kind of worked out.
DC Miami.
It kind of worked out that way, and his branch from Brady, one of 3 touchdown passes, and I thought Brady played a strong game tonight. He had 1 bad throw, and that was that interception, ill-advised pass to Graham. Other than that, I thought he was right on the money.
He was outstanding, Bob, and they pick on the Colts secondary every time they play him. I don't think they think much of the Colts secondary, and they pick on him, and they did again tonight. You saw them open the 5 wide. That's how they do it. But I think this was pretty much the same old Colts to me. Terrific on offense, weak on defense, and cannot make that big play when they have to. It's been a staple of that team, especially against the Patriots, and that was totally the thing tonight. They had 4 or 5 chances to win that game. They should have won that game.
Okay, Willie McGinnis is standing by at the podium right now inside, though, so let's go to him. Willie McGinnis, the author of our play of the game.
You know, because they was throwing the ball a lot against us and running for that matter, and they was kind of taking advantage of us for a little while. And it was coming down to crunch time, and he just said, hey, we got to be aggressive and go after him. So we went after him.
How big did your eyes get when you saw him?
Huge. I just didn't want to miss him. I was going to swipe at the ball and try to get the fumble out, but I figured he'd drop back far enough. Peyton Manning gives a lot of ground to give his receivers time to get open a lot of times. And I was just trying to dig to get to him, and I just wanted to get him down and hopefully get him out of field goal range and, hope they miss it, which this guy never misses. I'm happy he missed it finally. That's good, man. Well, they stopped leaving me free and let me, come off the edge. But I like to take my hat off to the offense, man. They kept us in the game, man. They played great tonight. And, I don't think defensively we played it the way we needed to play. And we can do a lot better, and we are going to do a lot better. But Brady and the receivers and Corey and the rest of the offensive line, they did a great job of giving us a chance tonight and staying in the game. You scored 27 points. That's a lot, especially, it's a test for us coming out first game of the season against Indianapolis. They're no slouches. They're a really good team.
Talk about the fact that this type of game tonight is not the game you usually see, first game of the year. This is usually the kind of game you see in January.
Yeah, well, it's going to be intense. They set it up that way, and the stage was set. You know, you had the performances going on, and the first game of the season, it was huge. And we knew they were going to come out. You know, we knew they were going to come ready, and we just tried to do what we do: be physical, play tough, be smart, and execute. And like I said, I think we played good enough to win, which we did. But this team can play a lot better. We was coming off the field and in the locker room, a lot of guys was all saying the same thing. We looked at each other like, hey, we can get better, and we're going to push each other in practice, and we will get better.
What were the problems defensively, Willie? What was going on out there?
Well, we just didn't execute, you know. It wasn't one guy. You know, a lot of guys had a lot of mistakes. You know, I let Manny go around the end one time when I was supposed to have force. Guys getting inside, you know, it's a lot of different things, you know, and collectively we didn't play well. And we can't win a lot of games playing like we did tonight. You know, we got away. Our offense helped us out a lot. But, you know, everybody's going to be gunning for us, and we're going to see that every single week. And there's going to be a new twist. They're going to come out with new formations and different personnels and all kinds of stuff against us. So we're just going to have to bear down and play better.
Really, your knees were churning when you were going in there. Like, just let me get to him before he gets rid of it.
Yeah, I just wanted to get to him because I know if he throws that ball, hopefully, you know, fortunately nobody was open and he didn't get it off quick. You know, our DBs did a good job of jamming. And that's the first time or the second time we called that blitz all night. You know, usually we was in coverage. I was in coverage a lot. And, you know, we was only rushing 3, you know, and those guys, it was like Richard and the rest of the guys, it was like 3 against 6 the whole night. So finally we rushed more than that and kind of got there.
Okay, Willie McGinnis, the author of the play of the game. I might have referred to him as the player of the game. That's yet to be determined by the fans. We of course made our selection, but why impose it on someone else?
I suppose his name would have to be on the list, right? Would
Yeah,
say Tom Brady,
I
3
think
touchdown
so,
passes. Deion Branch, despite the muff on the punt, had a terrific game.
Daniel Graham.
And certainly Willie McGinnis as the play of the game, you know, that says it all. But the player of the game, he probably saved the game. So perhaps some fans could use that and say, therefore, he is the player of the game, Bob.
Who are we
Depends
to
on how do you interpret, right?
We're not imposing our will on you.
Just suggesting possible nominations.
You know what? I've been waiting.
Throw anybody else in there?
I've been waiting to use this line. It's all Greek to me. Yeah. All right. When we come back from Athens to Foxborough, we'll come back with much more, including Tom Brady at the podium and your vote on player of the game.
The crowd was crazy. I mean, we ran out there for the first time at about 8 o'clock, and they were just the crowd was packed. The stands were packed. So it's great, great electricity tonight. And like you said, I think first game of the year, there was a lot of energy on both sides, and just glad we won that game.
So it seemed like you guys offensively didn't have any problem right from the get-go being on the same page.
Well, I think we moved the ball well. You know, we scored 27 points, and I don't think that was enough for us. I think we would have liked to score some more, but it's a fast defense, and they did some different things than we were expecting, and I think it just came down to, obviously it came down to, you know, such close plays at the end of the game. I certainly wish we'd have finished it out on offense, but it just seems to be with this team, we can't ever finish a team off like that. So we got a lot of work to do. I think I think everyone's happy being 1-0, but I think we realize how many mistakes we made and how much better we need to be.
Tom, talk about being able to hand out to Corey Dillon in the game he had tonight.
Yeah, I thought Corey, for his first game, I mean, what a great game. He broke some great runs, made defenders miss, ran over people, handled all the plays, all the pass protection. I mean, it was a great opening night. I mean, I think it's great to have him out there. I think he's a tremendous runner and a great competitor. And you know, it seems like the more you get in the ball, the more he wants the ball, and the harder he's running. And you know, he gives a lot of credit to that offensive line as they deserve it with how great those big guys up front played. Well, I think that's the idea. I mean, I think you win and move on, and then you try to keep getting better each week. And I think there's, like I said, there's lots of improvement. I mean, there's lots of room for improvement because, you know, you just don't want to let it come down to, you know, such close plays at the end of the game. I mean, you really like to continue to play well every time the offense has the ball and the defense, you know, to kind of get off the field on third down. But I think we just made a few too many mistakes tonight. But like I said, I think everyone's happy that you put all that work in training camp, basically preparing for this game. And with 2 weeks off for most of us out on the field, it was nice to get out there and play, and nice to get out there and compete, and nice to win.
When the Colts are moving down the field like they were, are you guys figuring, okay, we'll go out there, we got to put points on the board, or do you figure your defense is going to do what they did tonight, find a way to come out?
Of course. I mean, I always think, I think we were preparing there at the end of the game for, either being down 4 or going into overtime. And, I think Willie made a huge play sacking Peyton there at the end and knocking him back, making that much tougher. I think it's a tough place to kick. So I think the wind was blowing pretty good tonight. But like I said, I think it just came down to we made a few more plays than they did. But I think it's always a hard-fought game against them. I mean, every time we play them, it's the same thing. I mean, it's just grind it out. And they're fast and attacking. And they hit hard, and they're well coached. And I got a lot of respect for that team.
Graham's play, talk a little what kind of dynamic that can add if he can play like this on a consistent basis.
Yeah, you talking about the touchdown pass?
Yeah, in his whole game.
Yeah. Dan's, he's continued to improve since the day he got here. And, we rode to the game together, and he felt great about tonight. I think coming off his first year, he had some injuries that slowed him down. Last year, he really played well, and I think this year he's really found, his role. And he's a tremendous blocker. He's got very good speed. He's dangerous with the ball in his hands. Makes a lot of tough catches. Tough guy. I mean, you just love having guys out there like that. It makes it fun for me to go out there and play with guys like that. And I got a whole group of them. Yeah. And David's another guy that, he comes off a year last year where he's injured, goes on IR, hurts his knee, rehabs all year, and comes out in training camp and earns a starting spot, and it's just gone with it since day one. I mean, he makes a huge play. I think he's got so much speed. He stretches the defense so much. He runs great routes, got great hands, got a great attitude. He's just another guy that I think adds so much to our offense and is really a threat out there. Anytime, he splits out and he, is running fast. On the touchdown, I looked over there and he killed a guy at the line of scrimmage. And he just kind of shook him and then dipped underneath, and boy, he was gone. And once David's got to step on a guy, there's no one catching him. So I just try to lay up there, put in a spot where he can run it down. And with his great speed, he tracked it down and made it look like an easy catch. Yeah, I mean, I think anytime we're throwing the ball, I like it. I think that was the attack going in. I mean, we planned it. We were going to attack them throwing the ball and try to catch them off guard. And I think we did a good job of that on that first drive. For some throws I'd like to have back. I'd like to go and score a touchdown that first drive. But we settled for the field goal and came back with it a few drives later, and we were productive. I mean, we were productive with it pretty much the whole night. But like I said, there's still some plays that we wish we had, just so it wouldn't have been so close.
The interception at home. Last year we had talked about it all year long. At least we don't have that.
I was out of the way early, right? Yeah, I hate to do those. I hate to throw those picks, and thought I had Dan down the middle, and I let it go, and we just had a miscommunication, and the safety made a great dive and catch. So, I hate throwing picks. Something I'm trying to work on, and obviously still trying to work on it. It's, the thing about the quarterback is you don't want to turn the ball over, and I turned it over there, and I don't think that gives us a great chance to win when I turned it over. So, got to work on that.
Tom, most quarterbacks, when they're in their own end zone, they can't. They rush them. They're so poised. Why?
Well, I think those big guys up front give me reason to be poised, and that I know that they're going to protect me. And, whether on the 1-yard line or the 50-yard line, I mean, they're always blocking their tails off. And I had some great time back there. I mean, they gave me some, on the third down completion, great time to hit that in cut to David Givens. And that was a big play getting out of there. And then ultimately, like I said, I wish we would have ran that clock out. But 2nd and 5, they got us on a strip sack. Thank God we recovered it and then got us off the field on third down and put our defense on the field. But, it was good getting out of there, down there on the 1-yard line. I think that's the goal, to try to get a first down and keep moving that ball. And like I said, our offensive line up front had a great night. I think we really rallied around those guys in the pass game and the run game, too.
Tom, what is the winning streak
I don't think it means much. I mean, I don't think we think about it. I think we just think about next week. I mean, I don't think about Arizona, and I'm just trying to beat them. And then, we'll talk about the next opponent. But you can't win all those games in 1 week. You just got to win one. So got to beat Arizona.
Tom, what'd you make of the pregame, the banners, second banner in 3 years?
It was like I said, it was like no other game ever. I mean, the Super Bowl wasn't like this. I mean, it was crazy. I mean, you couldn't hear anything in pregame warm-ups. Super Bowl, it's different because, it's not really a home crowd. But this is our home crowd, and they're just going crazy. I mean, the parking lots were full when I pulled in at 4 o'clock. It was a lot of fun. It's such a home field advantage with our fans cheering. So it was a great night. Like I said, I'm glad we won, but I think we're going to evaluate the film tomorrow and then realize how much we need to improve.
Tom, talk about Corey Dillon's development progress from the first preseason game to today, because he seems to feel more comfortable. And then what do you see 5 and 6 weeks ahead for this guy? Do you see more steps forward for him?
Well, I think just on tonight's performance, I think he did everything we asked him to do. And, I think he comes into a situation where he doesn't feel like he has to, carry the load. I mean, we have such terrific receivers and tight ends and an offensive line that protects well. So I think he realized that he doesn't have to come in and, rush for 200 yards a game if we're going to win. So, he makes the plays that are there for him. He has made some great reads. He runs so powerful. And, he's, since minicamp, he's really, I think, impressed everybody with his work ethic and his attitude. And I think hopefully we'll just continue to, get a ball to him and let him try to run over some of those defenders. I know it's fun for me to watch. So, thanks, guys.
Okay, with Bob Newmeyer, Bob Lobel, and one thing we learned, Tom Brady drives to the game himself. It's
kind of like the president leaving a press conference. They're trying to get extra questions in.
Helen Thomas said, thank you very much, Mr. Quarterback. We're going to take a break. We have some highlights to show you, and they're good. They're good highlights because this was an outstanding football game that kept everyone riveted. It lived up to advanced
Better
billing.
than Elton John?
Well, you
Better
know
than
what?
Lenny Kravitz?
I'd say, but
Jessica Simpson?
Well,
Let's not go there.
That was pretty good.
Debatable.
But Mary J. Blige with the national anthem was very strong. High marks there. When we come back, and don't forget, player of the game, and the highlights coming right up.
Guests on New England Ford Patriots fifth quarter receive a gift certificate to Milton's, the store for men. At Milton's, you'll be as comfortable in their stores as you will be in their clothes.
Welcome back to New England Ford Patriots fifth quarter. Brought to you by the New England Ford dealers, home of the best-selling brand of cars and trucks in New England.
All right, Newmeyer, Lobel back together again here in Foxborough, and happy to be here to have a chance to watch this one.
And operating by the light of the silvery moon here at 2 a.m. or wherever we're at here on the clock. But for entertainment value, Bob, this game was tough to beat. You had two, I think, all-pro quarterbacks, two of the greats in the league, and both cerebral guys, both thinking man's quarterbacks, both great athletes. Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, two beasts of the AFC going at it. Two of the better clubs. And
what should be playoff
and
teams.
high entertainment. This is the kind of game that fans just relish, and maybe the purist would say there wasn't a lot of defense played here tonight, and there wasn't. Nobody could stop anybody. That's a fact. And but it went back and forth, and there were turnovers and mistakes and what have you, and a lot of high drama.
Okay, let's take a look as we unveil the highlights and the banner for the 2003, as we said, Mary J. Blige and the Boston Pops providing the scintillating entertainment, stealing the show. The Patriots introduced briefly by Robert Kraft and then going back into the locker room. So meanwhile, having said that, the Pats came out in the spread offense.
Yeah, and unusual that 5 wide receivers include 2 tight ends, but it was Givens, Branch, and Patton, and Benjamin Watson, and Graham because of the injury to Troy Brown. But they were very effective. Brady hit both Givens and Branch and Ben Watson. That set up a Vinatieri field goal.
Automatic Adam, and it was +3 on the good guy's side. Then Reggie Wayne from Peyton Manning, a 43-yard pass, and it looked like the Patriots were having trouble already defensively.
Yeah, he caught the seam of the zone, and that got them inside the 10. And here's, again, who else? Teddy Bruschi comes up with another big play, reaching behind his back. This guy has incredible athleticism. Now, this is a beauty. I mean, watch 54. That's a linebacker. That's not a wide receiver making a big play.
Great play by Bruschi, and inside the red zone to boot. One of 3 Colt turnovers inside the red zone, so they're shaking their heads. Dominic Rhodes, here we go. A couple plays in a row after Dominic Rhodes. Edgerrin James, trouble stopping the run.
Well, this is the series that I think stunned the New England fans. The way the Colts just ran the ball at will at the Patriots defense. It was a combo platter of Edgerrin James and Dominic Rhodes, and they just drove the ball right down the Patriots' throats, culminated by this Rhodes buck 10-3 Colts.
There you go. So all of a sudden, the fans are a little shocked, but the Patriots have an answer right after that.
Yeah, and here's Corey Dillon. This guy's a big man, and I think he has deceptive acceleration for a big guy. I mean, you watch this guy, and he just gobbles up the turf. That was a big run there. And that set the Patriots up. Here's Dillon again, and clearly this is an upgrade over, no disrespect to Antoine Smith. He helped the Patriots win a couple of Super Bowls, but this guy's a very good back.
Andy M., we're not in Cincinnati anymore, and then Brady to Patton, who was electric tonight.
And the key to this play, this could have been intercepted, but Patton worked back towards the football. A key play there for Patton. Good to see him back on action after missing last year with injury.
And then Deion Branch.
Deion Branch, again, splitting the seams of the zone. Patriots exploiting what everybody knows is a weak Colts secondary.
But you know what? Okay, we can see the replay, but firing it right in, threading the needle. So the Colts come back in a 10-10 game.
Again, there's that fake handoff on that stretch play. And this is Dallas Clark, a tight end out of Iowa. And this was a killer 64-yard scamper. And that set up the Colts' go-ahead touchdown to make it 17-10.
Ty Law sitting out much of this game, in and out, reportedly with a bothersome hamstring. We'll find out. Marvin Harrison was to be heard from in this game.
All right, here's the old bread and butter play here. Manning to Harrison. They work on this thing. They probably practice this play, 8,000 times. This is a great combination, a historic combination in the annals of NFL history. They're slowly, Bob, creeping up on the Steve Young, Jerry Rice combination.
One thing we did not show in these highlights and should not be taken for granted is the Patriots' ability to come back and kick a field goal before the end of the first half. Automatic Adam, and that was a big 3 points.
That had to be annoying to Tony Dungy. And you're right, it made it 17-13 at the half, and Vinatieri did kick that field goal, and then on we went into the second half, and after the Colts went 3-and-out, David Patton beat Harper on this play. That made it 2017 with 10:48 left in the third.
He didn't beat him. He just beat him like a rented mule on that particular play. But then this Manning bootleg, trickery.
Shocker. Shades of Steve Grogan against the Jets back in the Warren G. Harding administration.
But you know what? What a momentum and emotional killer right after that play. Edgerrin James inside the red zone. That one is, if you're a Colt, that was an emotional killer.
And unfortunately, he's going to go down as the go to the game. This guy is a wonderful player, trying to go for extra yardage. The ball clearly comes out before the knee is down. The Colts challenged the play, but referee Mike Carey correctly viewed this play under the hood. This was a fumble, and it stood up that way.
You're not allowed to vote for Edgerrin James as player of the game. I'm sorry. We just don't work it that way. Graham big tonight.
Graham, and this made it 27-17. This is 17 unanswered points, and you think, wow, this is going to be easy. But Peyton has an answer of his own. This pesky little Brandon Stokely was a thorn in the second half.
Yeah, much like Delhomme in the Super Bowl brought him back and worked the Patriots secondary over, and then Brady throws an interception on an ill-advised
play. And that was his only bad throw of the game. It was a 3rd and 11 play, and we noted that it was a big play. It was a nice catch by Harper, and it set the Colts up in good shape here, and now Manning goes across the grain. Interference here on Asante Samuel, and now you're in the last 4 minutes of the game, and you're saying, uh-oh, here we go.
Well, you know what? Here we go. Edgerrin James, here we go. Again, no voting for him for player of the game. But he got stuck at the goal line, and the ball came loose.
Eugene Wilson. Eugene Wilson has made a number of key hits for this ball club in his brief tenure as a Patriot, and this could be a potential game saver. He's going to come in late, Helmet on the ball, right there. And that forces the fumble. Will Falk's in there as well. Will Falk will jump on it. And at that point, that seemed to salt the game away, but there were more heroics left.
There are many more heroics left as the Colts got the ball back. Third down for Manning. Seemed to change the play at the line of scrimmage, and that just allowed for Willie McGinnis from the 17-yard line to push him all the way back to the 32.
You know what's interesting about this? Manning usually knows where every defender is on every play. He never saw Willie McGinnis. So obviously the Patriots were in some kind of scheme that he wasn't prepared for, because out of the blue, McGinnis comes darting in off the edge. Now, instead of an automatic Vanderjagt field goal, Bob, you're talking 47 in swirling winds.
Yeah, I mean, he basically took him out of field goal range, but the guy's kicked 42 in a row.
Now, doesn't this look like it's going straight and the wind just kind of pushes it out? Or no? Or is it a camera angle?
No, it was a shank.
Hard shank, but it looked good off the toe. But Vanderjagt had made 42 in a row. And Manning and the Colts are befuddled, betwixt and bewildered, as Vanderjagt suddenly decides to miss after being perfect last year from 47. Not an easy kick, by the way, on wet grass.
You know what? I think it was one of those he tried to draw it around as they want to do, and it just didn't draw.
But, I mean, who would have thought when Manning was inside the 20? I mean, you were thinking one of two things.
First of all,
they're either going to win it in regulation, at worst, as you pointed out to me, OT, and we play on.
And certainly when they had the ball at the 1, you figure, looking at the clock, well, how much time is Brady going to have left to bring them back? And it never happened.
And that's why the Colts have to be stunned. I mean, they really do, because Edgerrin James fumbling at the 1, and the play where McGinnis comes out of nowhere to sack
interception,
Manning, and Vanderjagt all of a sudden misses a field goal. I mean, they got to be wondering.
This was a great game, and it had a very exciting ending.
Oh, by the way, 16 in a row.
Yeah.
Then Arizona, which, you know, they should beat Arizona. Then a bye week, and the NFL record, including playoffs, is 18. It's Mr. Drew Bledsoe at Buffalo to tie, if they can get by Arizona, the all-time NFL record for consecutive wins, including playoffs. If they beat the Bills, then it's Miami to win more games than any other team in NFL history. And Bill Belichick hates me right now because it's one game at a time in their world.
It is.
We can go further. In their world, it's one game at a time.
Well, the news isn't all that great. I mean, the Red Sox were in Seattle tonight after...
Shocking.
Shocking, after sweeping Oakland in dramatic fashion. The Red Sox are in Seattle tonight, and first and third, Wakefield, the pickoff gets by Millar, and Ichiro comes in. It's 1-0 Seattle. In the third, Randy Wynn on second. Brett Boone, it's a ground rule double, and, you know, Wakefield's kind of struggling down the stretch here. It might be, you know, putting himself in jeopardy of a starting role in the playoffs.
Could be a talk show topic tomorrow.
Talk show topic.
Wakefield or Arroyo in the playoffs.
On the Newmy and Dale show.
617-779-0850.
10-2. 2-0 Seattle. 3-0 in the fifth. Dan Wilson over Manny's head and left. Two-runner score. 6-0. Shocking. We're just not used to seeing this. Followed by a two-run home run by Jose Lopez. That would be it. Wake's struggling. 7-0 Seattle. Sox lose 7-1. They're on a brutal one-game losing streak.
And oh, by the way, the Evil Empire won a doubleheader against the woebegone Tampa Bay Devil Rays.
They should have just taken a forfeit.
The Sox still have, I think, 6 left against Tampa, and they've just chucked it and mailed it in down the stretch. So with Anaheim losing, you're still in good shape for the wild card. You lost a game and a half to the Yankees in the division, but you still have that big 6-pack left against Lou Piniella and the Tampa Bay Devil Rays.
I'm a big advocate of making sure the Yankees are in the playoffs, and well, anyway, we'll talk about that. Maybe not on this particular show. We're going to take a break when we come back. It's all fodder for talk radio. When we come back, Patriots win 27-24. Scintillating football game. It had its ups, it had its downs, it had its good points, it had its bad points, it had its goats, it had its heroes. And when we come back, your vote for player of the game.
Welcome back to New England Ford Patriots Fifth Quarter. Brought to you by the New England Ford Dealers, home of the best-selling brand of cars and trucks in New England.
All right, player of the game. It was very close voting. I suppose it's hard to argue. The guy that made the play of the game is the player of the game.
Well, first of all, this is a little bizarre in my world. Last time I checked, Bill Belichick was the coach and not a player.
Right.
Second of all, are there extra computers in the Joanne Druzzi household?
I think they might have got a couple new Dells.
Is this stuffing the ballot box a la Cook County in the Nixon-Kennedy election of 1960?
But let's face it, maybe he had a great game, but how would we know? Huh? Would you know?
I mean, all Brady did was throw for 3 touchdown passes and over 300 yards, but I guess that's only good for 17% of our audience.
I mean, maybe Joe.
I mean, I know it's late. I know people have had a few cocktails watching the game.
Yeah, I mean, we're not taking anything away from Joe Andruzzi. Maybe he might have played this career game
no,
here.
Willie McGinnis for that matter. I mean, clearly that play won the game for the Patriots. Yeah, Vanderjagt missing, of course, helped. So one could make a case for McGinnis as player of the game. That I can buy.
Yeah, and I could buy Edgerrin James, although we prohibited voting for Edgerrin James.
Brady, 17%?
Would have been my pick.
Me too.
Okay, just shows you where we line up. All right, thank you very much. Steve Burton will have much more on tonight's game coming up on the New England Ford Patriots Game Day Show Sunday morning at 11:30 when we have a chance to digest everything that's happened here. Zoe, Diassi, Numi, Michael Felger will be alongside Sunday morning at 11:30 on CBS 4. Well, Numi, we kicked off the season with a great one, and hopefully we're looking for many more like
Patriots
this.
are 1-0, and they go to Arizona, and they'll be big favorites to win that game, of course, against a club that has Dennis Green, a new coach, had a lot of success with the Vikings, and young quarterback there, trying to make some improvements. We'll see how they show.
How interesting is it? It never fails to amaze me. The final score, 27-24, 3-point difference. The spread was 3 points Patriots.
They know what they're doing out there in Las Vegas.
They know what they're doing. For Bob Newmeyer, I'm Bob Lobel and Steve Burton. Thank you very much for being with us. Have a good morning, everyone.
First and 10, Indianapolis 25. Brady straight back to throw. Looks, goes to the end zone, open. Touchdown, David Patton.
Oh, what a great throw.
Tom Brady, 25 yards in the backfield. Manning out of a shotgun, takes the snap. Here's the rush by Willie McGinnis. He sacks him back at the 30-yard line. Sacked by Willie. Field goal attempt for Vanderjagt. He's hit 42 straight. Ball is in the middle of the field to snap the ball down. The kick is up. The kick is on the way, and the kick is no good. No good. Vanderjagt's 42 straight field goal is broken. He misses with 19 seconds left, and the Super Bowl.
Thank you for watching New England Ford Patriots 5th Quarter.